a series of these dark, dank underground tunnels and chambers that at one time originally served as houses and workspaces for tradesmen and Scotland merchants. But as the conditions deteriorated inside the vaults, the chambers and tunnels over time became where the poorest of Edinburgh's citizens lived and died. Prostitution, poverty, violence, and illness consumed the vaults, and infamous serial killers did a little body snatching using the dark vaults as a place to store their dirty work. But it wasn't always like that. The city of Edinburgh straddles 7 major hills, and the iconic Edinburgh Castle, which has been inhabited by the 2nd century AD, was built into formidable fortifications in the 12th century to protect against dangerous invaders and sieges. There are too many big words in this podcast. I'm already struggling. But naturally, the closer one lived to this castle, the better. So bridges were built to span the deep ravines that sloped away from the castle itself, these being the modern highways of their time. To make way for this grand scheme, there were 3 areas that were demolished, and these were considered to be Edinburgh's poorest and most run-down areas. The winding, crowded streets were knocked to the ground, and the stones were reused. The bridge consisted of 19 stone arches spanning a chasm just over 1,000 feet long. At its highest point, it stood 31 feet above ground and had foundations which penetrated Edinburgh's bedrock as far down as 22 feet.
Shit. Wait,
Yes.
It's a bridge that stands that tall?
Dude, it's a crazy ass bridge. They have like actual buildings on this bridge. It's more like a street. It doesn't even look like a bridge.
Okay, I have seen that. It is crazy. Yeah.
Yeah. It blew my mind. Like honestly, I felt like I learned a whole new thing with researching the story because I've never been to Scotland. I maybe have heard about this prior to researching the story, but I might have also put it all the way back in a filing cabinet in my brain and forgot about it because, like I said, I was just like, what? What? You could do that? But anyways, Edinburgh was a fearful and superstitious place at the turn of the 18th century, both of real and of imagined harm. The citizens' fear of what the unearthly and supernatural could inflict was only exasperated by their inherent mistrust of the invading English, a long-held belief that resulted in the building of the defensive Flodden Wall after the disastrous battle of the same name in 1513. So, just a few years ago. The man-made barrier around the outskirts of the city, combined with Edinburgh's natural geography, forced residents to live virtually right on top of one another. They could no longer build outwards, so in most cases, they built straight up. Some of those houses were like mini skyscrapers, being like 14 stories high.
That's crazy.
That's nuts, right?
Yeah, you can't imagine that the architecture was that solid. I mean, they're using better materials than present day. We try to use lighter things and whatnot, and some people don't want to spend the money for the really expensive strong stuff.
Yeah.
But I mean, if this is like the lower class, having to do this, I mean, they don't have the best materials, and they're just going up, up, up.
Up. You can imagine every time a strong gust of wind came through, they were probably holding their breath. Yeah. Oh, shit. Okay. So anyways, the fear and mistrust amongst the locals only continued there in Edinburgh, which created a very unwelcoming and anxiety-ridden atmosphere. So when the South Bridge was finally completed in 1788, they wanted to do something good, and they thought it would be appropriate for the bridge's eldest resident, a well-known and respected judge's wife, to be the first to actually cross this fine architectural structure. Sort of like their way of christening the bridge.
Yeah.
But just before the grand opening ceremony could take place, the eldest lady passed away.
Oh, oops.
Yep, she died. And everyone was like, oh, hell no. She's crossing over that damn bridge.
Oh,
so
okay.
She became the first person to cross the bridge, only she was in a coffin. Yeah.
Yeah. I kind of dig it, though.
Yeah.
It seems very Scottish to me.
Yes, exactly. They're like, oh hell no, bitch, you're going.
This is still happening.
Yeah, this is still happening.